else who she just wanted us to wash her shit for her, you know.
How you doing, gentlemen?
Hey, what's up, bro?
Hey,
What's
how's it
up?
going there, Nino?
What's up? Not too much, not too much. Been I went down to G6 to see how they were all doing down there, and it's crazy. No matter if you're on one side of the law or the other side, right? Criminal or civilian, affiliated or non-affiliated, everyone seems to be having the exact same problems. Now I'm going to tell you what I think, and then I would love for you to, hold me, poke holes in what my thoughts are if you think there are any holes in it. This city council, from Alan Crane to Max to Shaban to Murphy Braun, are all a bunch of fucking lazy bums. And the proof is in the pudding. It has been 7 months, and when you look at the legislation, it's restriction after restriction. More reasons for the police department to detain you, arrest you, and more loopholes that can be used in order to make sure the police department gets a guilty charge. It has gotten so bad that most of the warrants that are being issued as a consequence of the cops not even being able to get arrests. Take a look at the newspaper. There's usually 0 to 3 arrests every 12 hours. I know because I've been looking. But why is there 15 warrants? And when I go look up those warrants, what are they? Negligent ownership of a firearm for a civilian. Why? Because someone robbed their gun and the PD decided not to write the report. And when I went and raised it to the Chief Justice, when I raised it to Murphy Braun, when I raised it to Assistant Chief Ruby York, there's been a collective, well, maybe they shouldn't have lost it in the first place. If any one of y'all end up in jail and I need to go and find out what the charges were about, up until I started kicking a fit 4 days ago, it was the PD did not legally have to give any one of your lawyers the documentation for us to even begin the court proceedings. A lawyer would not be able to differentiate a client that is lying to them and says there's a case from someone who is innocent. You had to bring it to the docket first and waste all that time only to find out the guy was lying to you. Or if you, for example, you had a member of law enforcement do something nasty to you, shoot you without reason, and then let you go, right? What are you supposed to do? You call a lawyer, you want to sue the cop. Well, guess what? The cop doesn't have to give you a report because they're not legally required to. And when I brought it up to the police department, they did not give a fuck. In fact, it was so bad for simply asking for documentation that they went crying to Crane. And that man came to me like I did something wrong. What the hell did I do? What? Try to defend someone and ask for papers? I begrudgingly got that man to write that shit into legislation. I got him and alongside others got common law put in. And as a consequence, we now have gun laws being changed. So people like Moose Knuckles, you ever work with Moose Knuckles before?
Yep.
He's no longer a lawyer. You know why? Because he was in the middle of a gang shooting as a civilian, and the PD watched it happen. And in order to protect himself, he grabbed a gun and then was shot down. And the PD didn't
like
say, stand my ground. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The PD didn't say, listen, Moose Knuckles, you're a lawyer. You're a civilian. You've been helping people. Clearly, you picked up this gun to make sure you don't die. No, they said criminal possession of a firearm, gang-related shooting. Fuck you. Despite the fact that the guy he took the gun off of was GSR positive, Moose Knuckles was GSR negative. The individual he took the gun off of said, listen, he took it to defend himself. No, P didn't give a fuck. This is the kind of world we are living in. And I know a lot of us, not so much myself anymore, but, sometimes we like to graze with the law a bit. But right now, I think everybody, regardless of what your background is, deserves a fair shake. And when the core is so fucking rotten, it needs to be chopped the fuck down.
Yeah, it needs to be burned down and rebuilt, honestly. After I sat there and I watched Soze's trial for 2 hours and saw the state that the DOJ was in, I was completely unimpressed. At that point in time, my mind changed completely. So I know you were speaking about a change and trying to push a change on the phone. Who do you have in mind for council positions? You have anybody specifically that you're looking at?
So that's a big thing that I've been ensuring. One would be myself. Myself obviously as mayor. My chief of staff, I'm looking towards Kit Archer, who's an ex-cop, now lawyer, who is absolutely repulsed with the current state of the police department. She brings sensibility to me because I'm the guy who's gonna, protect folks like yourself, right? And she kind of keeps my head cool, so that is a bit of a balanced approach. I very much recommend, if you ever find yourself against the law, she's a fantastic lawyer because she knows how the PD operates. The third is we're working on trying to push up a new head of bar, but the current problem that we've uncovered is that Murphy Braun, there was a tie between Murphy and Serge Cross, 3-3, both judges for head of bar, the people that look after the lawyers, right? There was a secondary vote that was like 15-10 that consisted of inactive lawyers and a vast number of judges. Now, based on my experience so far, where judges are like disciplining lawyers and under being under the umbrella of a judge, why the fuck are judges voting on the person representing the lawyers? It's so brain damaged of a system. Now, I can understand to a degree because a lot of the lawyers are still learning, and so I can understand this being sort of like a temporary thing. But we, as well as most of the lawyers, we're all on very similar pages. We want to get someone in place that can actually represent their, constituents, so to speak. And in turn, that helps represent you guys. Because otherwise, you have a judge who's got an opinion, who pushes that opinion on the lawyers, who then directly affects you guys, which we defend. It doesn't make sense. That's not check and balance. Fourth is going to be the seat for the doctors. I am actively speaking with Kanta, who I do think has a sensible mind, and I want her. I want that individual to be very pro civilian rights, right? Pro business, pro legislative protection. A lot of that is being cooked, but the good thing is we've been starting early and we got plenty of time to get that sorted. But right now, my energy is getting feedback from you guys, seeing what the problems are, continuing to pass legislation as I have been, and getting a mayoral seat so I can start to fucking make some changes.
I absolutely. Stop the collusion. Yeah, it's a lot of collusion I see. Because if it was factually based, a lot of things would be different in these court cases, but need to eliminate some collusion.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Soze's court case, because Crane was memeing about that entire court case while I was speaking to him. This son of a bitch, we spent 3 hours him fucking crying about like there's no problems with the current law. Only for him, those 3 hours, I find out afterwards that he just plagiarized a different judge's a draft that he claimed he had written. Actually, it's bad. It's laziness, and a lot of opinion is based on emotion. Emotion cannot run our lives. This is Los Santos.
Yep, I agree. What were you gonna say, Andre?
I was gonna say it's like, for me, I see exactly what you're talking about with all this gun law shit. It's like that has directly affected us in different ways. So you got, for example, my boy right here, Blaze. You had your license and it was just taken away, but you weren't charged with nothing, right?
Yeah, I had a warrant. Woke up with a warrant, and then the gun was taken away. The license. And nobody called me. Nobody told me anything.
You are one of 6 clients that I have that are facing the same thing. I am not able to get a FOIA for warrants because the Chief Justice is claiming it's an internal document. But under that guise, if it's an internal document, then why is it showing up at the courthouse? So is the government committing libel on individuals by claiming They're felons and wanted when it's internal. And if it's internal, then how are they taking your weapons license? Because that would be a constitutional violation, given the fact that they have seized your license without due process.
Yeah, there's no process to it. I mean, and that's the way that should be built too. Go to jail, get charged with it, become guilty, then you lose your weapons license. Not this bullshit.
What I've described right there, Cameron, is that I have followed common sense, logical conclusions based on the law that has been written from what I just said. And right now, for 7 months, people are telling me for 7 months, people can't make those logical conclusions. Like, how are you deriving that this is okay? It takes
when it's their job as well. It's literally their full-time job.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Like, what the fuck else have they got to do other than look at how it is, like, logically? Like, that's why they paid.
Too busy running their own narrative, man. They had their own needs, their own narrative. Simply as that.
Yeah.
Man. They want to do their own shit. They're not looking out for the citizens. Period.
Yeah, I mean, even for me, like when I was trying to get my shit back, because my stuff got stolen, I went through the process that they want me to go through, even though, as you're saying, they don't really want to follow due process, but I did. I went through the whole, I want to FOIA it. I FOIA'd it through Tony. Tony got him FOIA'd. Went through all this shit. Tony even told me that in this arrest that they made of these people and they retrieved my weapon, like in this report, they don't even have who had what gun in the report. Like they found a couple people, and then in that, it's like there's no way of them knowing who had what gun. It's like they're not even doing their reports to an extent where they can know what's on who. Like, so he straight up went to, I think the dude's name was Tugs or some shit, who was getting charged with this shit. When he got charged with some like, possession of a firearm, but in the report there was nothing about him even having a firearm and shit. Like,
Jesus
so that
Christ.
hold up the whole thing as well. Then I talked to no less than like 4 different cops about this shit. And they kept telling me, oh, you gotta wait for the 30 days. I'm like, but there's no investigation, so there's no reason to keep holding it. And they like, just wait the 30 days. I'm like, that's the easy option, but like the real option is think about it. Have you charged them? Did they plead guilty? One of them didn't. One of them did. So then they like, I don't know which one had it. So I guess you just got to wait the 30 days because one of them pled guilty and one of them didn't. I'm like, motherfuckers. And then even then, like after the 30 days, they were still telling me some shit about I got to FOIA it. I'm like, I already did. But I did get that shit back. But like after pestering, like I say, 4 different cops. But I did eventually get that shit back yesterday.
It's the only thing that I have been met with is absolute sheer incompetence, complacency, and excuses. I mean, even let's go through the most simple, like logical steps to getting an arrest. Cameron here shoots somebody, let's say. He is placed under arrest and he is brought to the cells. He has charges now being placed on him. In order to make those charges placed on him, probable cause is needed, which means that probable cause needs to be in the report. That's evidence. Before he gets sent up and charged, regardless of whether he pleads guilty or not, that needs to be in the report. If it is not, then they are arresting him without documented probable cause. So why can the information not be given? The answer that I've received from Slacks and Ruby is it's more complicated than that. Someone could end up in the ICU and you need their statement. Maybe someone decided to go to sleep. And my answer is, suck my dick. I don't care. That's illegal. Because the fact of the matter is, if you needed their testimonies, then how did you charge him? There's no answer.
Never is. There never is an answer, man. There's only questions, and they be stood there asking you questions, and I'm like, it's your job, dog. It's your fucking job. Another funny thing is,
shit off. Say, oh, it's complicated. Well, explain it then to me. I'm not stupid.
Explain
it to me.
Exactly.
Thank you.
We got time.
Take the time. Yep.
We got time. And another funny thing is, I'm gonna let you know this shit. This is how dumb they are. You ready for this? I don't know if you're ready for this. I have a driving license and a weapons license, right? I'm an upstanding citizen. You wanna check my record? I have a DUI and other felonies, and they just ain't fucking took my shit away. They straight up dumb as hell. They ain't doing their jobs, dog. I'm just waiting for him to realize.
Record and my shit's gone.
He got a clean record. His shit's gone. I got a DUI. I nearly killed 2 EMS when I got drunk and started driving my car. And I still got a weapons license. And they gave me my gun back yesterday. So they've been continuously giving me shit. They just straight up incompetent, dog. And that's
Shit's
like
just
gone in my
sloppy.
favor as well. Yeah, they just sloppy as hell.
From top to bottom. Legislative
so
shit sloppy,
dumb.
the cops sloppy, everything fucking sloppy from top to bottom.
It's I think for far too long, this complacency of just like hand motherfuckers a gun and a badge and just have them go around pitting people at 150, shooting them up, throw them in the cuffs, and just slapping whatever charges they want is gone. And things are gonna change. And I will ensure that I'm a fucking pit bull when it comes to people's rights. I didn't want to run for mayor. I didn't. I can swear to you up and fucking down. But I found that it had to become a responsibility because I had the ability to do so. And I have enough backing to make a difference. And I can promise you, if I am elected, this passion will not stop. And I will keep biting at the necks of anybody that is fucking individuals over under the guise of laziness and emotion. Los Santos has never been a city of snowflakes where you can sit in a position of power, but because someone said something mean to you, that is a defense against you stomping actionably on people's ability to live, survive, and prosper. There's 3 main things I look to put into place. Number 1, transparency of the government. Every piece of legislation before it is voted on by the council will be publicized to the public. This is what we are voting on, and then you will find out who voted and how they voted. Then there's no dirty work. If some fucking jerk off decides to not vote on something that protects your rights, well, I mean, whatever happens to them, no? Number 2, that accountability means that if someone, even myself, ends up wasting my time passing the Bikes a Vehicle Act or some fucking horse shit, then you can look to see what the fuck is Nino doing. He's not producing. Get him out of office. And if I cannot hold to those things, you should be able to have a vote to get me out instead of having the justice system drag their feet. The second thing, a Department of Commerce that I like to have run by Eve Summers, my niece, who has a strong history in Los Santos for running businesses and having a care for the people. This Department of Commerce will consist of individuals with similar passion to her from a diverse set of groups. I want to make sure all that power doesn't go into like one segment, right? So there's no like corruption taking place. And it would act as a form where singular individuals or groups can go to with their business proposals and get feedback as to why it's approved, why it's denied, and what the recourse is. So you're not sitting there having to wait weeks to find out what's going on or get denied and not know the reason. You get actual feedback and guidance and help. And all of those reasons will be publicized to the public. So if someone gets, some hyper like felon gets approved for a gun business, the entire city knows. Or if my worst enemy gets denied with some bullshit reason like you smell, the entire city knows. And then you can hold me and the future people accountable. The third thing, I want to give more power to the hands of the lawyers, as I have been with this FOIA thing, et cetera, because if the lawyers are not empowered, you cannot be defended. If you cannot be defended, the city crumbles. I want these lawyers to have the ability to become the legislators, so that if you yourselves have a lawyer handy or someone that you believe can write legislation, then you should. And let it be reviewed by the board of lawyers to help make sure it's up to snuff. And then when it hits the desk of the city council, we can review it. And within 15, 30 minutes, you could have something passed or kicked back with, with notes. Instead of spending 3 to 4 hours arguing whether and where a mask should and shouldn't be worn. Whether or not, like, surveillance equipment should or should not be used. Every piece of legislation, barring like a few, is just adding restrictions, preventing creativity, and disallowing people from being able to prosper. And that's going to change.
I have a question. Why isn't the general public allowed to vote on legislation? Why isn't it left in the hands of the people?
Well, that's what I'd like to change. So, in an idealistic world, the success of a council should be based on the success and the amount of bills that are passed. And the way that that should work is that the city council is the last facet for review for a bill. They make sure that the bill is passable, and then it, based on a vote, let's say like even a 50% vote, right? Because that shows that like say that's the bar. It would then go to the public to do the voting. And if the public keeps voting against bills, that means the city council's dog shit. If it keeps passing, that means it's successful. And in the corner case that people may bring up, which is like, oh, well, then the PD is going to lose all the legislation that helps them. Well, no, that's where EMOCs and referendums come from, right? So, here's something that helps, like, I don't know, gangs, but here's something that helps PD. Both got to pass. So, yeah, I think it's a two-step process. The first being give people the ability and avenues to actually make changes is the first one. That's easier to do, right? Because I can make that happen without anyone in the city council stopping me, right? Because I would just be introducing the bill like, hey, I'm bringing this forward, even though, and it's written by Cameron Blaze and with Moose Knuckles having reviewed it, right? It doesn't matter because I can bring it up while simultaneously pushing for more of a democratic process. I think the reality of the matter is that things are so inefficient, ineffective because they've been run like the city council has been using Los Santos like a personal playground, which is very, I think, quite frankly, obvious, that they are afraid of more complex ways of doing things. And it's not lazy because they're complex, it's because it's like removing their power,
Yeah. Yeah, if people at the top, it's something that I always say. It always comes down to it. No matter what kind of life you live, I think this kind of goes for business, for other types of businesses, if you know what I'm trying to say. It's like the motherfuckers that really want to lead and have total leadership are the motherfuckers that should never be leading. Motherfuckers that like don't want to lead, but they probably could, end up being the best leaders sometimes. They want to hog all the power, straight up problems all day.
Yeah, you gotta stay grounded. I think that's what the council should be based off of, is the ground foundation. Have someone from TOW on there, sanitation, or at least on the council, the one that we had that did like oversight board. I mean, some type of input from them would be very good for the upper echelon, at least, of the
100%.
And different areas of work.
Having having people from different areas of work that you just always be able to talk to and be like, what's your day-to-day looking like? Because at the end of the day, the people at the top, they got a whole different day. They don't see it how it is at the bottom, right? They just don't. There's no way that they walk in those shoes. Like you ain't gonna get a mayor going doing sanitation for a whole day. But you got motherfuckers doing that literally every time there's daylight. All they do is sanitation, and it's like, and why? How do they feel about that? What could be better? What could be worse? And you know what I mean? Same shit for, oh man, dude, I'll be real with you, man. There's one dude that I found so far. If I ever want to buy wood, there's like one guy. So I don't know what the fuck is going on at lumber, but motherfuckers is not selling wood.
I could actually speak to that. So that is a avenue I'm starting to visit, and I am witnessing a lot of these areas of state-run like jobs starting to keel over because the energy is not there. And because those individuals are being forced into becoming felons, right? Because of the negligent ownership of a firearm, because they raced, they're losing their jobs. It's fucking and their license. Like the fuck, it's a nonviolent crime. I've spoken to G6. I want to re-empower them, right? I've spoken to Lumber Union, and the problem with Lumber Union is that the pay is good, but it doesn't match with the complexity of the job. And as a consequence, there's like a shortage. And simultaneously, people are paying upwards of $20 because the entire economy's fucked. If you think about it, right? If you are a cop, you're making $4,500 an hour doing God knows what, right? And now all of a sudden, if you need wood because you want to make your own cupboard or whatever, you can afford the $20 a plank instead of the going rate of like 8 or 9, I believe they told me. So I think when it comes to fixing the economic spectrum and the health of these areas, I don't have a solution, but I know what the pathway is, and it starts with I got to talk to these folks, and then like get a economic model in place that can then be executed on. So I know that's not like a direct answer, but you know, that's kind of my vision for things right now.
Well, if
No,
you
100%.
propose with that vision, I think you'll get a lot of the working class behind you.
I don't disagree. I am, quite frankly, seeking someone out that can assist in that spectrum because my intent is to run the mayorship like a business, right? And every CEO has his directors that are experts in a place. And I am looking for a economic expert that has what it takes to garner that information on a weekly basis. You know, intelligent decisions can be made about it. Obviously, I do a lot of the talking, but having someone focused in that space just makes sense. The city's big enough to have someone like that.
Yeah, delegate that type of stuff. Gets people specialized. That sort of thing. I mean, you had a mayor that was a commissioner also. You have nobody up there in the prison. Like, there's so much stuff that should be delegated that's not given to people. It was that's a control freak right there for you.
Not wrong.
I was going to ask about that. Is there, if let's just say, you get voted in, is there any stage that you would even consider making yourself commissioner?
No, fuck the police.
All right.
The police members of high command need to be replaced with individuals that care about the people, not the people that think that each and every person is a felon just waiting to get charges. It's a wrong mentality. It drives discontent. And when they are being asked and crying about getting shot every day, they're not understanding that the reason is that they are enforcing injustice, and people will rise.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost bursted over multiple times in the court with Soze, in front of MRPD with Dundee and Bobby. You can see it. The people are not content with the way things are being ran, and it will boil over at some point in time unless something's changed.
Absolutely. But I mean, I'm going to be rather frank with you. The moment I started asking for FOIAs, I had inside information telling me that members of high command were going around saying I'm a snake. I'm going to do something nasty, et cetera, et cetera. I have not even committed a felony and gotten away with it. I ran the first independent mechanic shop for 2 months before it was denied because of personal beef between at the time, Juno Sweeney, the chief of staff, and someone I bought materials for. That's how petty shit was. And I've since then been a lawyer defending people, and these fucking pieces of shit. I'm mad that I'm looking to defend people. Fuck that. I had a officer scream at me while watching my client dying in the cells after being left alone for 25 minutes. This fucking prick had that audacity. This is the wrong mentality. This is the setup for a Gestapo. This is the kind of environment that breeds hate. And this is not what I am for.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I fuck
you have any
with
other
it.
points that you guys wanted to cover? Any questions, guys?
I mean, he already seems
I
like
think,
less of a dickhead than Carl Praed, so I'm good.
Well, I mean, he
Real injury.
spoke to us for more than 5 minutes, so he's already better than Max in that aspect too.
And I would like to make myself available for each and every one of you, whether it's for legal advice or you need rep in the cells and need me to look into any past reports that you got. And if there's anything in regards to the mayorship, there's plenty of time. So if things do come up and you want to reconvene, I am more than available. Cameron, you probably got my email. So if you want to set something up, certain time and place, I can make myself available.
All right, perfect.
Any other questions, gentlemen, ladies?
No, I think
I think you answered it all, G.
Not
Appreciate
for
it.
me.
No,
Thank you
good.
so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Hey, I just-
Appreciate you for yours too.
I just want to say real fast too. You know, it's genuinely nice to hear somebody that is just as pissed as the rest of us are about this shit, because it's been going on for far too goddamn long.
Yep.
Hell yeah. It's going to take more than just me to solve this. It's going to take all of us, you know.
Yeah, we gotta unite. Gotta come together. Do it the right way. That'd probably be the easiest way.
Stop making me crying, bro. Jeez.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, y'all take care. Yeah.
Take it easy,
So-
Nino.
All right. Later.
All
See you
right.
later, Archie.
Later.
See you later, Cam. Bye, guys.
Frenchie, come on, man. Like, really? In front of this, like, come on, man. It's the
fuck
future
you mean?
president, dog. And you talking about
Yeah, man.
vying, dog? Like, come
Put
on.
this shit together, man.
Ah, it was
What
emotional,
the
bro.
fuck? Man, god damn it. Oh,